properly bizarre example of tactical voting, perhaps, comes from Clacton, where Nigel Farage is hoping to become the next MP. The Guardian has reported that Labour's young and charismatic candidate there, Jovan Owusu-Nepaul, has been ordered to leave town by his own party and sent off to campaign in the West Midlands instead, with local campaigners banned from printing any more Labour leaflets. The paper says this is partly because the dapper Labour candidate is overshadowing Keir Starmer on social media. Can that really be the reason, or is it because Labour regards Clacton as unwinnable and therefore covertly would prefer even the Tory candidate, Giles Watling, who's running second, to Nigel Farage? I'm joined now by Aletha Adu, who broke the story, and congratulations on that story, Aletha. Just tell us again, actually, what's happened to this, as I say, rather dapper and charismatic young candidate.
Yes, it's a really remarkable story, Andrew. And I must clarify that, of course, Labour has always deemed the seat really unwinnable, given the vote share that they won at the last general election. They got 15% of the vote. And, of course, Labour has really run, quite a tight campaign machine so far.
They're running a bit higher now, though, aren't they?
Yeah, quite. So it seems, though, I understand that Labour officials ordered the candidate, Jovan, to leave Clacton. They told him, do not return to Clacton, and instead you should go to the West Midlands, which is,
a long way away.
Yeah, it's about 150 miles away. He had been twinned with the seat Colchester, which is very close by. So many activists on the ground and campaigners that have been helping him campaign had been questioning, wait, hang on a minute, if he's being told that his campaign is drawing too much attention right now and that actually we need to focus our resources elsewhere, why couldn't he go to the closer seat of Colchester? Why has he...
But how could it possibly be that any party, in this case the Labour Party, would conclude their candidate was getting too much attention and too much notice and kind of boot them out of the campaign?
Well, of course, every party would want the spotlight to be on the party leader. We've seen Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak jostle so much for attention on social media. But since the arrival of Farage earlier this month, when he finally made up his mind that he wanted to contest for a seat at the general election, it seems as though he's dominating a lot of media headlines, front pages, and he's even like the best performing candidate on TikTok, according to my colleagues at The Guardian, who revealed a story on that earlier this week. But I think it's just quite striking that we have seen a number of candidates for the Labour Party highlight the fact that, if they are deemed to not be campaigning enough for a particular target seat they have been twinned with, they will see their canvassing software blocked, so they will not have access to that, and it basically stops their efforts on the ground.
It sort of feels slightly brutal. Just tell us a little bit about Jovan himself, because he's, 27?
He's 27. He currently works for the Labour Party, the Equalities Office, and Keir Starmer earlier today. He was saying he's an excellent person, he's an excellent candidate.
And they're definitely campaigning in Clacton, even though the Clacton Labour Party isn't allowed to print any more pamphlets.
As far as I'm aware, on the ground, they've been trying to reach out to the regional office, haven't heard anything since. Of course, Keir Starmer is saying we are still campaigning there, we're not giving up the fight. But it's very different on the ground when people are saying, we were due to host a meet and greet on Monday. That's been cancelled. Obviously, we don't know where our candidate is, and we're all quite concerned right now.
This is such a strange story. I've been scratching my head and trying to come up with alternative explanations. One might be that actually there's a poll yesterday suggesting that Reform UK could get 18 MPs, and people in the Labour Party are so worried about Nigel Farage and a big chunk of Reform MPs, they think anything that can stop him should be tried, and that therefore, in effect, they're saying, vote Conservative in this seat.
Yes, and there are arguments that Labour should be pouring their resources into the main seats. They're saying that they want to make sure they can draw as much change across the country, and they want to focus their efforts in those winnable seats. But of course, when you've got a really high-profile figure like Nigel Farage getting so much attention, the question is, why would you not want to make the impact of taking him head-on as the Labour Party? And I think off the back of that, there have been some unhappy, former MPs who are now candidates, off the back of Natalie Elphicke being let into the party, and this question arising of, is Labour really a broad church? So you've got people on the far right, you can call the far right of the party of Labour,
the right of the party,
who are being welcomed in, but of course it's not like that for everybody, as we've seen with Jovan.
A really, really interesting, proper story, Aletha. Thank you very much indeed for coming in and talking about it. And here are the other candidates standing in Clacton: Matthew Bensilium, the Liberal Democrats; Craig Jameson, the Climate Party; Tony Mack, Independent, Natasha Obson, Green Party, Tassos Papsanitskos, Heritage Party, and Andrew Pemberton, UKIP.